How's it going, everyone? And welcome back to Rangers Rundown. Another 10 games have gone by in this season, games 61 through 70. So let's talk about it. The Rangers, over the last 10 games, went 6-3-1, which again is respectable. They've gone through 7 chunks of 10 games so far this season, and I'm pretty sure they've been above 500 in all 10 of them. Clearly by their record, if you isolate it in 10-game chunks, starting with Game 1, the Rangers have been above 500 the entire season. 44-20-6 after 70 games is much better than I think any of us really thought this team could do. And with the addition of these new players, I think over these next 12 games, we're going to see what this team is actually made of, especially when Kakko and Rooney and Strome finally return. We'll see what this playoff lineup actually looks like and what they can do. But we go back 10 games against the Islanders, which was a loss, 2-1, that frustrating loss with the Palmieri goal late in the game. But then they go to Tampa Bay and they win 2-1 with that late power play goal by Zibanejad. And then they go into Carolina the next night and they win 2-0. Georgiev shuts out the Hurricanes. But they go to New Jersey and they get completely embarrassed in a 7-4 defeat. Then Pittsburgh comes to town where they win very confidently 5-1. Then Buffalo comes to town and they win in an overtime thriller 5-4. Then they go to Pittsburgh and they win 3-2. And then they go to Detroit and they win 5-4 in overtime. So the Rangers put together a 4-game winning streak in the middle of these 10 games, but they would end these 10 games with another loss to the Islanders 3-0, and then they would lose last night to Philadelphia 4-3 in a shootout. So overall, 6-3-1 over these past 10 games, which again, this is about as bad as the Rangers have done. I think 5-4-1 was their record during one of these 10-game segments, so not the worst they've done in a 10-game chunk. Not amazing. You'd want to see them win at least one of those games against the Islanders, maybe 7-2-1, but 6-3-1, we're happy with that. The next is going to be a 12-game recap because we have 12 more games in the season. I'm not going to break it up 10 games in 2. I'm also not going to do 2 11-game recaps. I think just do all 12 at once. So the final 12 games of the season play out like this. They play at New Jersey tomorrow night on the 5th, and then 2 days later, they're home against Pittsburgh. Most likely, their round 1 rival. Will see if they can beat Pittsburgh again for the 3rd time in a row this season. Then 2 days later, on the 9th, they play against Ottawa, who comes to town. Should be a win. So the first 3 games of these next 12, you hope it's 3 wins. Pittsburgh, maybe they drop that one. So I'm going to be confident. I'm going to say the Rangers are going to beat New Jersey. They're going to beat Pittsburgh. They're going to beat Ottawa. So I think they win the next 3 games. Then they get 3 days off or 2 days off. They play against Carolina on the 12th. Carolina's coming to MSG. Home ice advantage. Maybe Kakko and Rooney and Strome are back. Maybe they can put something together. I'll say they lose against Carolina. I said that last time, and they won. So, I don't know. Prove me wrong. So I'll say 3-1. Then the next night, they go to Philadelphia for a little rematch. Hopefully they win that, so 4-1. Then on the 16th, Detroit comes to town. You hope they win that, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-1, maybe. I'm being optimistic, but, I'm in a good mood. And then on the 19th, Winnipeg comes to town. I will be at that game. That's the last game I'm going to this season. Should be a fun one. Winnipeg, they're not a bad team. The Rangers beat them last time they played when they were in Winnipeg, so maybe we'll count that as a win. We'll say 6-1. And then they're at the Islanders, and I'll just say they lose that game. They just can't seem to beat the Islanders this season, so we'll say that's a loss, so 6-2. Then they're at Boston, and that could go either way. I'll call that an overtime loss, so 6-2-1. Then they're against Carolina. Carolina comes back to Madison Square Garden. 14 days in between those meetings. Let's say they split that series 1-1, so we'll give the Rangers a win again. So 7-2-1. Against Montreal, they should win 8-2-1. Washington, they started the season against the Caps. They end the season against the Caps. I don't know. I'll call that an overtime loss. So over these next 12 games, I'll say the Rangers go 8-2-2. maybe 7-3-2. That seems more reasonable. We'll say 7-3-2 over these last 12 games. That's my guess. 7-3-2. We'll just stick with that. Let's get into some player stats. Shesterkin, 32-10-4 this season. He has only lost 10 times. 2.14 goals against, so a little worse of a goals against than he had in the previous 10 or even previous 20 games. 2.14, still nothing to freak out about. Still has one of the highest save percentages, if not the highest in the league, with a .933 save percentage. So Shesterkin still playing out of his mind. Hopefully he finishes out the season in the same manner. Georgiev, 11-9-2 with a .311 goals against and an .892 save percentage. Again, we say this every time. Georgiev is a goalie that needs a lot of starts in order to stay fresh and stay better than these stats would suggest. Georgiev will be sent off in the offseason. We'll see where he winds up. We'll see what the Rangers get in return. If anything, maybe they just let him walk, or maybe they try and get a 4th or 5th round pick out of it. Late round picks, they're basically scratchers. You win some, you lose some. Nothing's really going to break the bank. Forwards. Panarin still leading this team in points. 65 games, 19 goals, 63 assists, 82 points for a +12. He has 12 more games to try and score 18 points and get to that 100 points. I don't think he does it, but he might get close. He'll definitely get into the 90s. Maybe he pushes for 100, maybe he doesn't. Zibanejad, all 70 games, 27 goals, 44 assists, 71 points, +26. Zibanejad has the highest plus-minus on the team by a mile. +26 is fantastic. Zibanejad, 27 goals. He'll probably break 30 goals this season, with Kreider probably going to break 50. We could end this season, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... We could have 5 players on this team with 20 or more goals by the end of the season, assuming Strome and Lafreniere each score 5 in the last 12. It's possible. Don't think it'll happen, but the Rangers will have a 50-goal scorer and a 30-goal scorer on this team by the end of the season, which is crazy. Fox, 67 games, 10 goals, 56 assists for 66 points, +8. He's a point-per-game player this season so far. Hopefully he ends the season a point-per-game player. That would be crazy. Kreider, 70 games, all 70, 46 goals, 19 assists, 65 points. He's a +16. Just a powerhouse. Continues to be. 4 more goals until that magic 50. Strome, 62 games, 15 goals, 30 assists, 45 points. He's a +5. Do the Rangers trade him, let him walk in the offseason, try and spend some of these top-end prospects and some high-round picks to replace him? Could Kopp be the replacement for Strome next season if they let Strome walk and they sign Kopp? I think Kopp is going to ask for too much, because going into next season, the Rangers are only going to have about, I think it's $12 million to play with, and they need to sign some of their core guys. So I don't think they'll have enough room for Kopp unless they move some other contracts off of the books. I wouldn't hold my breath that Kopp is a Ranger next season, but we'll see what happens. You never know. Strome, 62 games. No, we just did him. Trouba, 70 games, 10 goals, 24 assists, 34 points, +20, the second highest plus-minus on the team. We love Trouba. He's going to hit everybody on the ice. He's going to rack up those assists, and he's going to produce. He has a new season high in goals with 10. He's going to be important down the stretch and in the playoffs. Gaudreau, 67 games, 13 goals, 13 assists, 26 points. He's a +10. Again, solid. He can move up and down the lineup, although he should probably stay in the bottom 6. But we do have injuries. Hunt was a healthy scratch. We know the deal. Lafreniere, 68 games, 15 goals, 10 assists, 25 points, and he's a -2. He's the first minus on the team so far. He's young. He's not really a defensive powerhouse, although he is getting better, and that will come as he ages. Should he play right wing, even though he's more comfortable on the left wing? This is a conversation that the fan base seems to be having a lot. He's young enough, just teach him to play on the right or keep him on the left. Probably don't put him on center. Get him so that he can play either wing and make him that much more of a powerhouse on the ice as he ages into this core. Chytil, 58 games, 7 goals, 12 assists, 19 points, -5. He has looked pretty good as of the last couple games. I know I said I was souring on Chytil. I'm starting to come back if he can keep this production moving forward through these next 12 games. Maybe he stays. Maybe he's one of the pieces they use to bring in a second-line center. Miller, all 70 games, 6 goals, 10 assists, 16 points, and he's a +16. Not going to complain about Miller. He's doing great. He's also 21, 22. He's still very young, and he's playing this well. So nothing bad to say about him. Hunt, 64 games, 4 goals, 11 assists, 15 points, -8. He's been asked to do way more than his skill set can allow him to do. I feel kind of bad for Hunt, although I'm soured because I've seen him play poorly in situations that he should not be in. But again, it was nice to see him be a healthy scratch last night. Kakko, he has missed 33 games this season. He's only played 37, 5 goals, 9 assists, 14 points, +7. He should be back soon so he can get hopefully 10, 11, 9 games in before the playoffs and get himself back into shape. Again, I can't really say anything about Kakko. He hasn't played. Lindgren, 67 games, 4 goals, 9 assists, 13 points, and he's a +13. Is he going to be on the team next year or the year after that? Is he going to be one of the pieces they use to get, say, a Mark Scheifele? Who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if Lindgren gets traded in the offseason to acquire a huge piece. Rooney, 51 games, 6 goals, 5 assists, 11 points, and he is a 0, no plus, no minus. Again, he didn't play the last 10 games, so I can't say much about Rooney, although I do like him on the 4th-line center. Reeves, 60 games, 3 goals, 8 assists, 11 points, -12. Did you know that Ryan Reeves had 8 assists this season? I certainly didn't. He has double-digit points. -12, though. Not really a shocker to anyone. I like Reeves. I do like when he was out of the lineup, the team just felt more complete and a little bit faster. He is signed for 1 more year. We'll see how much he plays down the stretch. Copp, 7 games, and he has 8 points, 3 goals and 5 assists, and he's a +4. Great addition. Great signing by Drury for the rest of the season. I think he's going to play an important point down the stretch and in the first round of the playoffs. Schneider, 31 games, 2 goals, 6 assists, 8 points, +3. I hope he's the future bottom pairing defenseman for this team. I hope the front office doesn't screw it up. I just really like his game. Vetrano, 10 games, 7 points, 5 goals, 2 assists for Vetrano. He's a +5. Again, another fantastic acquisition at the deadline for the Rangers. He's been playing really well. Does he stay on the top line when Kakko returns? We'll see. We'll see. He's been playing well as of late, but I think you stick any decent player on the top line with Zibanejad and Kreider, and they're going to produce. Gauthier, 47 games, 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points. He's a -8. Until he learns how to finish, I'm not going to really have anything fantastic to say about Gauthier. He's got to learn how to finish, and I think his opportunity to show us that he can has come and gone. Nemeth, 56 games, 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points, -10. Funnily enough, McKegg, 41 games, 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points, -10. Exact same stats as Nemeth. So Nemeth and McKegg, both bottom pairing defensemen. Or not, no, McKegg's not a defenseman, but both bottom of their respective positions. Not much to say about both of them. Nemeth did show some sparkles of being a solid veteran defenseman, and McKegg is just McKegg. He has 5 points, whoop-de-doo. He's not, a core member of this team. Will Nemeth be next year? I think they're going to let him go in lieu of some of the other deep defensive options that the Rangers have. Brodzinski, 18 games, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points. He's a +1. I like the kid. Is he going to stick around next year? Probably not. I think he'll be a great Hartford Wolfpack player next year. Mott, 7 games, no points yet, -1, but he is just a freaking spark plug out there. He is doing everything that he can to make sure that the Rangers are in the best position to win. Whenever he's on the ice, I don't really worry that much because he's going to do whatever it takes. He's a heart and soul kind of guy. Braun, 2 games, no points. He's a -3. Again, he's the Rangers' 7th defenseman. Not going to worry too much about him. Now we get, after all of that, into the team stats. So this team, 44, 20, and 6, 94 points. They are 3 wins away from getting 100 points. They will absolutely get 100 points this season. If they win 7 of the next 12, that's an extra 14 points. That's 108. And if they lose 2 in overtime, they can get to 110 points on the season. So if they go 7-3-2, like I predicted they will, they're going to get to 110 points. And this is a Rangers team that we have been missing since 2017. So 5 years we've been waiting for this to come back. Second in the Metro as of right now. Hopefully they stay there over these next 12 games, get home ice in the first round. Goals for, 210 goals scored this season, which is 18th in the league, down from 17th. Goals against, 182, which is 5th, down from 4th. So the Rangers, middle of the pack in terms of goal scoring, which is weird, considering the top-line offense they have on this team. But goals against, they're top 5 in the league. And that has a lot to do with Shesterkin and a lot to do with the top 4 defensemen on this team, just blocking shots, getting sticks in passing lanes. Top 5 in the league for goals against, not too shabby. Goals for per game played, they're at exactly 3. The Rangers statistically score 3 goals a game, which is 18th. Again, middle of the pack, down from 17th. Goals against per game played, 2.6, which is 3rd, still 3rd from 10 games ago. So their ability to keep the puck out of their own net is usually fantastic. And their ability to score is middle of the pack. Although they did have a couple 5-goal games. They had 3 5-goal games over these past 10, and 1 4-goal game in that loss to the Devils. So they can score when they need to. They just have to get the 5v5 going, which seems to be better since these new players have come in. Power play, 26.2%, which is 3rd in the NHL, down from 2nd. And the penalty kill, 81.1%, which is 10th, down from 9th. Top 10 on their special teams in both categories. Can't really ask for much more than that. Shots on goal, 29.1 per game, which is 29th, which is exactly what it was 10 games ago. Shots against per game, 31.3, which is 13th, up from 22nd. So the Rangers jumped 9 spots in shots against per game played. That's probably a consequence of the Rangers, yes, playing better defensively as of late, but also probably some other teams playing worse and just falling below the Rangers. Faceoffs, 47.6%, which is 27th in the league, down from 26th. We're not going to worry too much about faceoffs. The Rangers are going to suck all year. Get used to it. Not worried about that. This team, moving down in a lot of these categories and staying steady in a couple. They only move up in shots against per game played. But again, you can look at the stats all you want. What really matters at the end of the day is their record, their points, and how they do in the playoffs. They have 12 more games to get ready for the playoffs. They haven't officially made the playoffs, but they will in a couple games. So these next 12, you got to think of it as preseason for the playoffs. You're getting ready. You need this team to be healthy and play meaningful games that show us, the fan base, and the players what they're going to be able to do against the Penguins in the first round, because that's probably who they're playing. This game against the Penguins, where is it? On Thursday. Hopefully they win, gain a little confidence going into the playoffs. I think if the Rangers lose in the first round, it's going to hurt. Before this season started, all we said was playoffs and then we're good. But this team has done so much better than we thought they would that I think if they lose in the first round, it's going to be disappointing. This team can make it through the first round. If they lose in the second round, I'll be fine. Hey, second round exit, that's fantastic, because you know what? Next season is when this team's cup window is supposed to officially open. So anything past the first round is that's just gravy. But if they lose in the first round, if Pittsburgh ends up beating them like in 7 games, it's going to feel a little bit like a letdown. We can be proud of the season they had, but this team needs to show that it can make it in the playoffs, and if it can't win a round, who's to say they're going to be able to next year? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking too hard about it, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. 12 more games to go. We'll see what they can do. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more videos like it, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next rundown.